ಅಂಬಿಗೆ ಮಗನೇ ವಿನಾಯಕ,
ಅಂಬಿಗೆ ಮಗನೇ ವಿನಾಯಕ,
ಅಂಬಿಗೆ ಮಗನೇ ವಿನಾಯಕ,
ಅಂಬಿಗೆ ಮಗನೇ ವಿನಾಯಕ,
ಜಗವತ ನಾದನನಾದ ವಿನಾಯಕ,
ಜಗವತ ನಾದನನಾದ ವಿನಾಯಕ,
ಜಗವತ ನಾದನನಾದ ವಿನಾಯಕ,
ಜಗವತ ನಾದನನಾದ ವಿನಾಯಕ,
ಗೌರಿ ಪುದಲವನ ವಿನಾಯಕ,
ಶಿವ ಗೌರಿ ಪುದಲ್ವನ ವಿನಾಯಕ,
ಶಿವ ಗೌರಿ ಪುದಲವನ ವಿನಾಯಕ,
ಶಿವ ಗೌರಿ ಪುದಲ್ವನ ವಿನಾಯಕ,
ಅಂಬಿಗೆ ಮಗನೇ ವಿನಾಯಕ,
ಅಂಬಿಗೆ ಮಗನೇ ವಿನಾಯಕ,
ಜಗವತ ನಾದನನಾದ ವಿನಾಯಕ,
ಜಗವತ ನಾದನನಾದ ವಿನಾಯಕ,
ಗೌರಿ ಪುದಲವನ ವಿನಾಯಕ,
ಶಿವ ಗೌರಿ ಪುದಲ್ವನ ವಿನಾಯಕ,
मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर, मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर, जमुना के तीर हो जमुना के तीर, जमुना के तीर हो जमुना के तीर, मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर, मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर, मुरली के धुन मेरा मन हरलीनो, मुरली के धुन मेरा मन हरलीनो, चित धरत नहीं धीर, चित धरत नहीं धीर, मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर, मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर, जमुना के तीर हो जमुना के तीर, जमुना के तीर हो जमुना के तीर, मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर, मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर, कारो कन्हैया कारी कमरिया, कारो कन्हैया कारी कमरिया, कारो जमुना को नीर, कारो जमुना को नीर, मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर, मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर, जमुना के तीर हो जमुना के तीर, जमुना के तीर हो जमुना के तीर, मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर, मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर, मीरा के प्रभु गिरिधर नागर, मीरा के प्रभु गिरिधर नागर, चरण कमल पद सीर, चरण कमल पद सीर, मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर, मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर, जमुना के तीर हो जमुना के तीर, जमुना के तीर हो जमुना के तीर, मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर, मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर, मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर। ओम श्री राम कृष्ण भगवान की जय। बोलो बोलो सब मिल बोलो ओम नमः शिवाय, बोलो बोलो सब मिल बोलो ओम नमः शिवाय, 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 बोलो बोलो सब मिल बोलो ओम नमः शिवाय, बोलो बोलो सब मिल बोलो ओम नमः शिवाय, झूठ जटा में गंगाधारी, झूठ जटा में गंगाधारी, त्रिशूलधारी डमरू बजा, त्रिशूलधारी डमरू बजा, डम 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 डमरू बजा, डम 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 डमरू बजा, Shivaya. Bolo Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Om Namah Shivaya. Bolo bolo sab mile bolo Om Namah Shivaya. Bolo bolo sab mile bolo Om Namah Shivaya. 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 Bolo bolo sab mile bolo Om Namah Shivaya. Bolo bolo sab mile bolo Om Namah Shivaya. Jyot jata mein Ganga dhari. Jyot jata mein Ganga dhari. Trishul dhari damaru baja. Trishul dhari damaru baja. Dam 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 damaru baja. Dam 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 damaru baja. Gunjara Om Namah Shivaya. Gunjara Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Bolo Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Om Namah Shivaya. Bolo bolo sab mile bolo Om Namah Shivaya. Bolo bolo sab mile bolo Om Namah Shivaya. Om Shri Ram Krishna Bhagavan ki jai.
Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarva dharma swarupine avatara varishtaya Ramakrishna te namaha. Revered Pravrajika Ishtaprana Mataji, respected elders and dear sisters and brothers, Om Namo Narayanaya. This morning's reading is taken from the June 2019 publication of the Vedanta Kesari. It is entitled, Is Swami Vivekananda Were Here Today? And is written by William Page, a devotee who has been associated with the Ramakrishna Vedanta Society of Massachusetts since 1960. What would Swami Vivekananda say if he were amongst us and could observe the brave new world we have created since he passed away in 1902? This is a presumptuous and highly speculative question. It presumes that we know Swamiji so well that we can predict what he would think about any given subject. However, if we have studied his life and teachings and observed his thought patterns, it is possible to hazard a few guesses. Those who have read about Swamiji's life will know that when he arrived in America in 1893, he was greatly impressed by its high level of technology, its efficiency, and its dynamism. Later, he became more aware of the ills that lurked beneath the surface. He criticized the crass and shallow materialism that pervaded American life. Both trends have escalated since 1893. Western technology is now even more advanced, and so is its shallow materialism. Worse, the West has exported both to the wider global community. Now its technology and its materialism are found almost everywhere. In Swamiji's day, most long-distance travel was by train and steamship. Now we have automobiles, international jetliners and rockets, journeys that took 2 weeks and even months in the past by land and sea now take only 1 or 2 days by air. We have been to the moon. We have sent probes to Mars. We have countless technologies and technological marvels that Swamiji could not have dreamt of. We have the computer, the iPad, the smartphone, the internet, Facebook, Twitter, and really an app for every purpose. I think in general, Swamiji would applaud all these advances. They make our lives easier and more comfortable, and thus should give us more time to devote to religious practices and service to humanity. But in truth, they all have drawbacks. With the computer comes viruses. With the internet comes internet addiction, cyberbullying, and thousands of online scams. With Facebook comes a quantum leap in narcissism. It is well known that the greatest obstacle to spiritual growth is the ego. Facebook, Instagram, and other forms of social media often represent the greatest victory of the ego since the invention of the mirror. I think that Swami Vivekananda would applaud our advances in technology, but would laugh at some of the uses we put them to. And it is certain that he would wonder what we are doing with all the free time these modern marvels have given us. Do we indeed devote more time to our religious practices and serving humanity? Perhaps not so. Instead, we waste it watching television, surfing the internet, texting our friends about trivia, and posting on Facebook. When it comes to religion, I am afraid that Swamiji would be dismayed by the current situation. The onrushing avalanche of materialism, of cynicism, superficiality, and greed is flattening everything in its path. Given this context, what are religious aspirants to do? The answer is, religious aspirants should do what we have always done: be strong, stay true, and stand steadfast. Move out of the path of the avalanche and let it sweep past. Sri Ramakrishna remarked that the world is often like the curled-tailed dog. You cannot always change it. Try to straighten the tail, and as soon as you let go, it will snap back into its original shape. If we are true aspirants, we should stay true to our faith, no matter what follies may engulf the world. That means remaining true to the essentials of religious practice, including prayer, meditation, scriptural study, singing bhajans, keeping holy company, and trying to serve the Shiva in every jiva as best as we can. Swami Vivekananda believed that each soul is potentially divine, and that the goal of life is to manifest that divinity. This is the whole of religion. Swamiji made the plea for nationwide renovation from the ideals of tyaga or sacrifice and seva, selfless service. He described these as the most imperative aspects for shaping humanity. What he challenged us to do was to give ourselves a noble reason to live, a lofty ideal to live for, and a higher state to reach within the boundaries of human existence. He advocated for as little materialism as possible, with the maximum of spirituality. Let me narrate a story entitled A Madman in the City. Once a man named Jitesh finally left his village when there was no one left living there. He had never left his beloved village before, but intrigued by the fact that everyone had gone to the city, he decided to go and see for himself what wonderful things those cities had. So he packed a knapsack with a few clothes, put on his best smile, and went off to the city. On reaching the city, he was given a most unexpected welcome. A couple of policemen stopped Jitesh and questioned him in great detail. It turned out that Jitesh had seemed suspiciously happy for someone with hardly any possessions. In the end, the police had to let him go, but they were still suspicious about this apparently simple and good-natured fellow. The first thing Jitesh noticed about the city was all the rushing around. Everyone was in such a hurry. He thought that there must be something special happening that no one wanted to miss. Curious, Jitesh started following a man who looked like he was hurrying to this special event. However, after several hours following him, the man arrived at a small flat and went inside. The man had seen and done nothing of interest the whole day. That night, Jitesh slept in a park. The park was strewn with bits of paper and plastic. As the bins were completely empty, Jitesh thought how innovative it was that the city had invented plants with petals made of paper and plastic. He only believed this until the following morning, when a man came by and dropped his chocolate wrapper. Jitesh carried on walking through the city streets, trying to understand what was going on. He arrived at a big building filled with people. This must be the best museum in the world, he thought, on entering and seeing all the useless-looking things on display. But then he saw that people were picking these things up, paying for them and taking them away. Why would anyone want a watch which doesn't show the minutes? He wondered to himself after seeing a woman very contentedly leaving with the most modern of watches on her wrist. He thought pretty much the same thing when seeing a pair of shoes with impossibly high heels and then some electronic device which did 1,000 things and none of them well. Jitesh started regretting leaving his village just to come to this place where no one seemed happy. Then he saw a few kids playing. Now they certainly did seem happy, playing, running about, chasing each other, except for one child who seemed troubled by a little machine they were calling a console. He was hitting it so hard with his fingers and making all kinds of faces and angry gestures. Jitesh thought that the boy was trying to destroy the little machine because it was making him so unhappy. He decided to help the boy. Jitesh went over, took the console, threw it on the ground, stamped on it, and looked at the boy with great satisfaction. At this, the boy flew into a rage, as did all the other children and nearly all the adults. They pursued Jitesh so relentlessly that he had to run away. He didn't stop running until he reached the road leading back to his village. As he was making his way home, he couldn't help wondering whether the whole world had gone mad. The moral of the story is that we often get so carried away by the materialism of modern life that we lose sight of the most important things, that is, simplicity and austerity, both of which bring us closer to God. The Master says, "If you must be mad, be it not for the things of the world. Be mad with the love of God. The goal of life is not the yearning of money, but the service of God. Do all your duties, but keep your mind fixed on God." There still remains the question of what Swami Vivekananda would think of the world as a whole in the present day. Swamiji declared religion to be the very backbone of humanity, and his greatest fear was that society would forsake religion for the world. But aside from an aggressive nationalism, the real competitor with religion today is not just politics. It is the lure of technology and the secular mindset that accompanies it. If Swami Vivekananda were to address us today, he might say something like this: "Children of the world, you are heirs to a great religious tradition In your veins flow the blood of Vedic rishis and sages of the Upanishads. You are heirs to Buddha and great acharyas like Shankara. Yours too is the legacy of later saints like Sri Ramakrishna and legions of others whose names are unknown. Be worthy of them. Do not exchange the diamonds they have given you for cheap beads of glass. Do not do or say or even think anything that would make them ashamed of you. Having inherited such a noble tradition, be noble yourselves. Always act in such a way that Mother India will smile with pride and proclaim to all the world, "These are my children." Hari Om Tat Sat.
आंजनेयाय विद्महे वायुपुत्राय धीमहि तन्नो हनुमान् प्रचोदयात्। ॐ श्री हनुमते नमः। दोहा श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधार। वरनो रघुवर विमल यश जोदायक फलचार। बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार। बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। श्री अम्बे अम्बे मात की जय। चौपाई जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर। जय कपीश तिहु लोक उजागर। रामदूत तुलित बल धामा। अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा। महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी। कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी। कंचन वरण विराज सुवेशा। कानन कुंडल कुंचित केशा। हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे। कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे। शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन। तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन। विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर। राम काज करिबे को आतुर। प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया। राम लखन चिंतामन बसिया। सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सिया दिखावा। विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा। भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे। रामचंद्र के काज सवारे। लाए संजीवन लखन जियाए। श्री रघुवीर हर्ष उर लाए। रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई। तुम मम प्रिय भरत सम भाई। सहस बदन तुम्हरो यश गावे। अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे। सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीषा। नारद शारद सहित अहीशा। यम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते। कवि कोविद कहि पद दीना, तुम्हारो मंत्र विभीषण माना। लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना, युग सहस्र योजन पर भानो। लील्योताहि मधुर फल जानो, प्रभु मोद्रिका विमुख माही। जल्दी राम जय अचरज नाहि, दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते। सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हारे तेते, राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे। होत न आज्ञा बिन पैसारे, सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी शरणा। तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना, आपने तेज समारो आपे। तीनों लोक हाथ के कापे, भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे। महावीर जब नाम सुनावे, नाशे रोग हरे सब पीरा। जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा, संकट से हनुमान छुड़ावे। मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे, सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा। तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा, और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे। आश्वामित जीवन फल पावे, चारों युग परताप तुम्हारा। है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा, साधु संत के तुम रखवारे। असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे, अष्ट सिद्धि नवनिधि के दाता। असवर दीन जानकी माता, राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा। सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा, तुम्हारे भजन राम को भावे। जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे, अंतकाल रघुपति पुर जाई। जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई, और देवता चेतन धरई। हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई, संकट हरे मीठे सब पीरा। जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा, जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई। कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई, जो शतवार पाठ कर कोई। झूठी बंदी महासुख होई, जोया परे हनुमान चालीसा। होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीशा, तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा। जय नाथ हृदय महादेवा, जय नाथ हृदय महादेवा। दोहा पवन तनय संकट हरण, मंगल मूर्ति राम लखन सीता सहित। हृदय सुरभूप, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। श्री अम्बे अम्बे मात की जय।
Om Namo Narayana, dear sisters and brothers. Let us sit quietly and try to calm the restless mind. Swami Vivekananda is the embodiment of strength. Today, we require strength to face our difficult challenges. Swamiji says, Strength is life. Let strong, positive thoughts fill your mind from very childhood. All power is within you. You can do anything and everything. May Swamiji's life and teachings inspire us and strengthen us. May they give us the courage to face our challenges. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ॐ तत्सत्
जय श्री गुरु महाराज की
जय
महामाई की
जय
स्वामी जी महाराज की
जय
गंगा मात की
जय
महावीर स्वामी जी की
जय
सर्व ऋषि मुनीन की
जय पार्वती पतये हर हर महा